A Disney Plus Star Wars series centered around Cassian Andor, played by Diego Luna, who you may remember from the Rogue One movie, is probably the last thing I thought I ever wanted to see. I saw the first 3 episodes of the Andor series on Disney Plus, and it is surprisingly high quality. Like, we might actually have a darn good Star Wars series primarily aimed at adults. Andor is an origin story of the character, and I won't give any real spoilers because there aren't really any to give, but just to set up the scene, Andor is looking for his sister on some planet that I forgot the name of when he is accosted by 2 Empire contractor security inspectors who he ends up killing, and now he is on the run from the security force trying to hunt him down. I imagine future episodes will focus on him being recruited into the Rebel Alliance. This show looks and sounds really good. It's actually almost shocking at how much this feels like a high-quality Hollywood production. It feels so good to finally have true writers and filmmakers who care about the nuance of their craft working on a Disney Plus Star Wars series. People who care about cinematography, clever dialogue, and believable acting. So much of what has been produced by Disney Star Wars feels really juvenile. A show like The Mandalorian had some good special effects and a couple of great action scenes, but terrible dialogue and just bad acting. Andor, on the other hand, has carefully crafted dialogue and really good acting. This show is not for younger kids. It's for teenagers and adults. This show was created and written by Tony Gilroy, who was a writer for the Bourne movies, and that influence definitely shines through here. I mean, we see Andor going to a red light district and going into a brothel to get information from the ladies of the night working there, and then he executes a man begging on his knees for his life by shooting him in the head, so that's pretty dark. People swear in this show. My reviews are rated PG, so I'm just gonna say someone says the S word and someone says the B word. I wasn't planning on hearing that in a Star Wars property. I can't emphasize enough how much I like the dialogue and how much respect I have for those who wrote it. The dialogue feels real. The situations feel real. I want to give you an example of some of the dialogue and spoil a minor scene to help illustrate what I'm talking about. In this scene, a by-the-book deputy comes to his supervisor to report that 2 officers were murdered, and the deputy says, "I'm sure that in several days, with the proper resources, we can bring this investigation to a close," and then his supervisor interrupts him and says, "Stop. I don't mean just stop talking, I mean stop." And then he closes the door to his office so no one can hear what they're talking about, and he says, "This case seems to bear all the hallmarks of what I like to call a regrettable misadventure. 2 dedicated pre-war employees caught in a sad old bit of heroic calamity." And then the uptight deputy says, "I don't understand, sir. I want you to conjure a suitable accident. Let's make sure it's on the far side of the plaza. Let's get it outside of the leisure zone." And the subordinate says, "But they were murdered." And the supervisor says, "No, they were killed in a fight. They're in a brothel, which we're not supposed to have, an expensive one, which they shouldn't be able to afford, drinking Rivnol, which we're not supposed to allow. Both of them supposedly on the job, which is a dismissible offense. They clearly harassed a human with dark features and chose the wrong person to annoy. I suspect they died rushing to aid someone in distress. Nothing too heroic, we don't need a parade. Something sad but inspiring in a mundane sort of way. I am on my way this morning to an Imperial Regional Command review, where I'll be asked to make a report about our crime rates. The goal of that speech, should you ever be asked to deliver it, is brevity. Forgive me for reciting so much dialogue verbatim, but I love it. We get to see a more realistic, grounded side of the Empire for once. The bad guys here have complex motivations, and they're not villains in the traditional sense. It's not just a bunch of scary dudes in plastic armor indiscriminately murdering Jawas with laser guns. It's a government bureaucracy where people farther away from the central command have their own personal interests and ambitions that aren't ideologically driven. They just want to push the paperwork along so they can get their promotion and retire with a reasonable pension. If this scene was written by anyone else at Lucasfilm, it would have just shown some scowling villain with a scar running down his face, wearing a cape and full body armor, saying, "How dare these ingrates murder 2 of my men? I want you to hunt them down and bring those rebel scum to me. I will personally make them pay for their insolence. And you know what? I'm sick of that kind of storytelling. I'm Team Andor. Let's go. This is what I want to see in a Star Wars TV series. Something different. There are no silly catchphrases. No one is saying, "This is the way," or "I have spoken," over and over again. There are no cute animal sidekicks designed to sell toys, no burping jokes. Just espionage, action drama set in outer space. As far as criticisms go, I hope it picks up a little bit in the action department in later episodes. Most of the first 3 episodes is all talking and a lot of shots of Andor walking around with his hands in his jacket pockets, looking to see if anybody is following him. But other than that, I'm really looking forward to the rest of this series.